Well, today, OPPD declares a notification of unusual events at the Fort Calhoun nuclear power station. OPPD did not want KMTV Action 3 News to shoot this video.
In these unpredictable times, you can never be too prepared. Mentally, physically, financially, agriculturally.
Danger is
real people, real problems, real activism. Welcome to the Bob Tuskin Radio Show with your host, Bob Tuskin.
The military has been mobilized to help rescue efforts, and disaster alert has been raised to the highest level.
All right, folks, hour number 2 of the Bob Tuskin Show now underway. And we have Scott from the Believers Underground joining us for the full hour. We will take some phone calls throughout the hour with Scott. 866-841-1065. That's the toll-free number to join us. I was going too fast there. Let me slow down a bit. Everyone, take a deep breath with me. Jeez, long week, huh? I'm still so disturbed by those people arresting the activists giving food to the hungry. Very disturbed by that. Scott, did you get a chance to see that footage of police arresting people in Orlando for feeding the hungry? Probably one of the more disturbing of things that I've seen recently.
No, I haven't.
What do you think about that? I mean, could you imagine, and when you see the footage of the most recent arrest where there were 2 little kids getting fed, and the cops arrest the activist in the middle of these kids being fed, being given food, and the cops proceeded and wouldn't even allow these activists to finish giving the plate of food to the children. I mean, what are they thinking?
I'll tell you what, man, that's about as unholy as it gets, man. I mean, I used to round up food, and I mean, probably, I don't know, 100 tons over a 6-year period. They've handed it out, but you know, that's just beyond moronic and pathetic. That's what I think about it.
It's scary, right?
Well, I'll tell you what.
The police are just going to arrest people because they're given orders. I mean, if I was a police officer, which I would never be, but if I was a public servant, you know, I would want people to be fed. That's what they're for.
Yeah, and what statute gives them the right to arrest people handing out food? I don't get it. It's unbelievable.
I'm really speechless.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just disturbed. I watched the videos of the most recent arrest last night, and I don't know why it bothers me. I deal with a lot of doom and gloom on a daily basis, Scott, as you know, but this particularly irks me.
Yeah, you know, you got to be a blessing to get a blessing, and now they don't even want you to be a blessing. You know, they're trying to remove the blessings from people now. It's sad, man. You know, I was talking to a person in France today, and they got multiple people coming up sick over there. You know, and he was asking me, you know, is it from radiation? Is it from the ash that's falling? And I told him, man, I put up a video a year ago, man. There's all kinds of nuclear fallout in those Iceland volcanoes, and that stuff's pouring all over you. And he was telling me about this one lady. She was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and she has a 3-year-old child.
Very common. Thyroid disease is probably one of the most common diseases around right now. And it's because of all these dangerous toxins in our food and water supply.
Yeah,
which means aspartame, which we talked about with Dr. Betty Martini. If you missed that show, folks, you must go to the archives and listen to that, because aspartame is killing millions of people. It's one of the most deadly toxins out there. And that, combined with the chemtrails that they're spraying, and the fluoride in our water supply, and the high fructose corn syrup, and the deadly pharmaceutical drugs, and the pesticides in our food supply, and the list goes on and on and on and on. All right, folks, We'll be back with Scott from the Believers Underground in just a moment with your calls, 866-841-1065, and news from Scott.
Sleep. Stay asleep. Obey. When he looks at it with his eyes, it's what we see. When he looks at it with the sunglasses, we're seeing the same things all the way through, the subliminal symbology you couldn't see. Obey, no independent thought, don't think for yourself.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
And that's Sharif from Truth Frequency Radio.
Obey, no independent thought, don't think.
What a lovely voice. And a great host with great topics. Truth Frequency Radio, Saturdays on local broadcasting. And this is the Bob Tuskin Show with great bumpers like that. Man, it's really hard to sit here and do my show. I would just let the bumper play if I could for the whole show and just sit back and relax and enjoy the music. But the show must go on, as they say. And we got Scott from the Believers Underground with us, so by all means, let's jump right back into this. I know Scott's always got a lot of news for us in the world of Earth changes, post-glacial rebound, and other issues that Scott covers, space quakes, you name it. Scott, you with us, buddy?
Yeah, I'm right here, man. I'm ready to get on it.
Let's go.
Okay, first off, man, you're going to have another nuclear meltdown event.
Another?
Yep.
The one here in Nebraska?
I'll tell you what, when you're looking at 3 more months of ice melt up there in Canada, this is almost a slam dunk. But if not there, then the other 2 areas that I'm looking really closely at is the United Kingdom and Canada. I don't like what I'm seeing. You're getting permafrost melting. You got all this ice that has left Greenland, and it's pulling at the bottom of the ocean in the Atlantic off the coast of the United Kingdom. That could trigger off a big quake and impact both those coastlines, the one in Canada and the one in the UK. It goes right up the River Thames and take out a nuclear power plant. And you got a whole bunch of power plants right there above the borderline of the U.S. and Canada.
Don't you have any good news, Scott, ever?
Well, information shock resistance.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to, this is reality, folks. I've been doing this for 2 years since I came on YouTube, and find some fault in it. I've told you, I'm 10 for 10 on my 7.0 earthquakes and above right now in the last 5 months. And I already pegged all these zones. And then you think about all these earthen dams that are up from that nuclear power plant. Any one of them could give way. They're already topped out. And these are earthen dams. They're not made to handle this kind of pressure and weight, because we're dealing with pressure and weight. This is loading and unloading of weight. What's going to happen is it's going to sink the lake behind the dam. It's going to sink it, and it's going to pull the footing out from the dam, and it's going to take it out. The odds of it happening in the next 12 months is pretty much almost 100%. And you got these dam systems that are all over the place. Now that the ocean currents are stalling, and you got a different evaporation rate between freshwater and saltwater, it sends these mega flooding events into the same location over and over and over again, and then you have drought locations over and over and over again until the ocean current's able to restabilize, and that takes a quake. So you're just like, wow, But I've been saying this, consistently. I knew this before I even got on YouTube when I had my validated grant with USGS. Now I've been staying in the chat rooms with a lot of my friends that are with a lot of these different organizations, and they even like coming over and seeing my vids. They get more information off me than I get off of them. But nevertheless, you got a gigantic breach in the magnetic field now. I put that up on a vid I think about a week ago, and that came out of NASA, and you got space quakes that came out of NASA. thing is messing up the magnetic field, something fierce. You know, and I said that 2 years ago. This planet was in orbital wobble. Heck, I even gave a little demonstration on how it worked, and I put that in a video this week. You know, to say, hey, look, man, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, my second video, I told everybody, I was like, man, you're going to have volcanic activity just, you know, go from 200 to 400% in this next time, and within a year, it was up 200%. Since then, it's been up another 200+%. You know, now with this other volcano, as we just had another 5.5 earthquake near Yemen today. You know, and then another 5.1 earthquake out there in over there in the Indian Ridge. But I mean, this Earth's expanding, it's widening, and it's sinking the ocean floor. It's pulling these islands under. You know, they're disappearing all over the place.
What do you mean it's widening, Scott? I thought we have plate tectonics and they're hitting each other and doing things that plate tectonics do.
Well, you know, I even put up a vid, I think 3 weeks ago or something like that, where the plates are pulling apart. They had divers swimming between them.
Right.
You know, yeah, that was their own reports. You know, so much for that, you know, or, well, they're grinding up against each other. Now, are they grinding on a cross width? Yes. You know, and you don't know how they're not straight lines. They're crooked and jagged and stuff, and that sets off all kinds of other small little events, what you'd call a 5 or 6 earthquake. But, you know, I mean, this is some very troubling time, folks, and you better have your act together.
Yeah.
And, you know, then you see what they're doing with all the crops. You know, I was looking at this, a friend of mine sent me a thing on this guy up there in Canada, and his cattle are dropping dead. He's got all kinds of weird, plants growing in his hay now that are getting blown over from the Monsanto fields, and, you know, and he was all natural and stuff. This stuff is just, it's nasty business. And then with Fukushima reactor blowing up again this week, I mean, wow, man! I was just sitting there watching the you know, it's amazing when you see a tank run out of water and then the smoke plume go on up, and then the whole area just turns into a big fireball, man. And I'm going like, oh, man, isn't anybody watching that plant? Well, you can't keep the darn water in the pool for 5 minutes? I mean, give me a break. I mean, but hey, they're run by idols of incorporation. What do we expect, you know? You know, what do we expect? These are the polluters that destroyed this planet, and they worship an idol. That piece of paper they gave life to back in 1917 is an idol. It's an idol of paper, and paper's made of wood. You know, it's an idol made of wood. And these kings of this earth threw their crown down to that idol. And now you've got the revenue agents supporting that idol. The judges supporting that idol. Your Congress, your president, all of them are supporting that idol. And these banks are totally unregulated, and they are idols. You're casting your pearls before swine, America, and the rest of the world.
The Federal Reserve notes are a scam. The all-seeing eye, that pyramid, all of that evil symbolism, all a scam. We'll pick it up in just a moment with Scott from the Believers Underground. This is the Bob Tuskin Show. All right, let's jump right back into it with Scott from the Believers Underground. We'll take some calls, 866-841-1065. So, Scott, what else is going on, buddy?
Well, I had a friend over in Arizona, you know, get blessed today. You know, he was a blessing, and then, you know,